morning to everyone here in our Zoom room. And thank you for joining us today at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. I'm Marcia. So please silence your phones and listen for a higher calling. Our guest musician today is Karen Karsh, who is a regular visitor with us at Unity. Welcome back, Karen.
Thank you so much. I am so glad to be here and not in the snow.
I agree with that. We're all safe and warm.
Yes.
We would like to share our inclusivity statement with you. Unity in the Rockies is an inclusive community. We welcome all people, races, gender identities, and relational orientations. Wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And please join me in affirming our mission statement. We are an inclusive spiritual community where we recognize and express our oneness with our Creator and all creation. And those of you who are joining us for the first or second time, another welcome. And we are so glad you are with us today and look forward to supporting you on your spiritual journey. So tuck yourself under your blankies, settle in for today's announcements. Board of Trustees nominations are open. If you are interested in serving on the board or you would like to nominate someone, please see the e-blast or website for more details and the nomination form. The memorial service for Laurie Schroeds is scheduled for Saturday, January 28th at 1 p.m. here at Unity. Laurie is a former Unity Spiritual Center member, and her daughter is Sandy Schroeds, and all who know the Schroeds family are welcome. Daily Word, do you have old copies? Well, we're collecting them for our women's prayer group at Denver Women's Correctional Facility. Please give them to our office administrator on Sundays or during office hours. The Scrappy Quilters are gathering this Thursday, January 18th at 9:30 in the Fellowship Hall to make quilts and blankets for Westside Cares. Unity Spiritual Center offers 2 grief support opportunities. Our Good Grief drop-in support group meets Sunday, January 28th at noon in the sanctuary. And a fixed membership or grief education and exploration group starts in February. I, Marcia Orr, will offer an information session on this group next Sunday, the 21st at noon in the prayer room. See the e-blast for more information on both groups. Prayer chaplain training is coming in February and March. A prayer chaplain orientation occurs next Sunday, January 21st at 1:30 in the sanctuary and via Zoom. An alternate session is on Wednesday, January 24th at 6:30 p.m. If you are interested in service as a prayer chaplain, see the bulletin board or Linda Anthony for more details. The Care Ministry meeting occurs on Thursday, January 25th at 9:30 a.m. in the sanctuary, and all are welcome. See Rose Salcetti for more information. The Sacred Women's Circle has 2 January events. The January Full Moon Drum Circle meets Thursday, January 25th from 1:30 to 3 p.m. in the Fellowship Hall. Bring your drums. And the 2024 Vision Board Project happens on Saturday, January 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. in the Fellowship Hall. RSVP to River Hansen. And as a reminder, you can find out more information on all these activities in the weekly Unity e-blast newsletter and on the Unity Facebook page. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the light on the mesa.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and the grace. I can hear the brush of angel wings. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Hi there. I'm Diana Forrest. I'm your prayer chaplain today. Our chaplains are available to pray with you after service. I think it would be best if perhaps you were to leave a message in the chat and we can set up a private room after visiting time and fellowship. I'm not sure how that'll work, but if you have a request, please let us know. I am available and Jean Dutton is also available. So whether you are in a place of celebration or challenge, please take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. Also, written prayer requests are available that you can leave in a box in the back of the church when we are in church. And also you can call the prayer line that is listed on the website. Today's daily word is serve. I bring God's love into the world through service. I don't need special skills to be of service. I have willing hands and an open heart, channels of God's love to be directed wherever they are needed most. This impulse to serve is my compassionate nature seeking expression. I respond to the needs around me by doing what I can to help. I do not think of reward or recognition, just being of service fills my heart. Serving is a wonderful way to feel close to God. My loving heart is open, my hands are busy, and my life feels purposeful when I am doing what I can to brighten one person's life or to make the world a better place. I feel God's presence strongly as I serve and share the love and care of the divine. From Matthew 25:35, for I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger and you welcomed me. Blessings to all. Thank you.
I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. With every step I take, it's taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. With every step I take, it's taken in pure faith, and I am stronger every moment, every day. My mind is willing and my heart is open wide. I trust my instincts and let spirit be my guide. I vow to live a life that's real and pure and free as I continue walking in this mystery. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good.
Just beautiful, Karen. Thank you. Thank you, and good morning, beloveds. How good to be with you. How good to see you. How good to feel your wonderful energy. Reverend Dr. David Goldberg here, and it's wonderful to be together in community. That is a joyful experience, to be sure. And as we move into our moment of meditation before our service today, just had a thought I wanted to share with you from an essay called Getting Along with People. If you want sunshine, step out into the sunshine. If you have locked yourself away in a dark closet, why not come out into the light? If you have been feeling that everything is against you and no one really cares for you, know that God is in everyone, and meet the God in others and see what happens. And so, in preparation for our time together today, I invite you into this offering from Eric Butterworth in the power, Discover the Power Within You. I am a child of God, and I act like one. I am a radiating center of peace in love. Let us be with that for just a few minutes. And I gently invite you back into the space, knowing that you can return to that space of contemplation, of wisdom, of knowledge, of deep inner knowing at any time. Gently wiggle your fingers and toes, opening your eyes, feeling the warmth of your surroundings and the warmth of our gathering today. And knowing that many of us are speakers and teachers and chaplains and ministers and musicians, I know that many, if not all of us, have heard that we teach what we need to know, right? We teach what we need to learn. And on this day, when I invite you into the meditation, I am a child of God and I act like it. I had found myself, perhaps on more than one occasion, in the past little while, not acting as I would perceive a child of God to be showing up. And so, my friends, on this day, we enter into lessons from our pilgrimage of gratitude that several parishioners joined Rick and me on this past week. And I would share with you that when we were ready to take off on this pilgrimage that had been in the planning stages for 18 months to 2 years, and creating the perfect time and place, and knowing the perfect guests would be joining us, and in consistent prayer, supporting all on this wonderful opportunity, both physically with us and those who are geographically in different places. We know time and space are human constructs. So it was a joy to be with you all this past week in prayer and meditation. And so when Rick and I got up at dark 30 last week, we got up at 3 a.m. We were at the airport by 4 a.m. We were going through the check-in process that we all love so much, and we know God is in, around, and through it all. And if you haven't been to Denver International Airport in a while, it's under some pretty significant reconstruction, some updates and upgrades. So we were wandering our way through, got our bags checked beautifully and easily. We happened to have Clear, which is one of the kind of express lanes, if you will, an add-on. And we got to the Clear line, and it took a while to get there. They only have one at Denver International Airport. A cheerful fellow was greeting us, and we said, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're starting this early. He said, yeah, we're in constant conversation about where the position is and where we are and how we check people in. And I said, well, TSA Pre, the other program, if you will, for frequent travelers, I said, they seem to have a few more access points. And he just kind of looked at me and nodded his head. And I said, that it feels like, at least from Denver, that TSA Pre is an easier choice. And this is a fellow who's employed by Clear, the competition. And he said, oh yeah, TSA Pre really is a whole lot easier, to be sure. And I'm like, okay, well, thank you for affirming that conversation for me. And then we went to work with one of his colleagues on the big screen, and they were updating their biometrics. So we had to do our fingerprints again, and we had to look into the screen and let them read our retinas again. And then we needed to give them passport information, but only one of about 12 or 15 screens was set up to read the passports. So she walked us over into another line. Rick went through smoothly. Something was, there was a glitch in mine, and this young woman was not happy with me that I wanted her to update it while we were there. She was not happy to be there at 4 o'clock in the morning. And, we had an interesting conversation. I said, gosh, I was talking to another one of your colleagues, and he happened to suggest that TSA Pre might be easier. Well, you can sure do that if you want. They'll refund your money. And I said, well, that might be a consideration for me. And she said, well, that's awesome. And so this was the start, right? This was the physical start to our beautiful pilgrimage. And this young woman was inviting me not to see the God in her. So I was at a choice point. I could let that ruin my moment. I could let that ruin my day. I could be at choice. I could allow that to set the tone for my entire pilgrimage, my entire trip. Or I could say, isn't that an interesting expression of the divine? I could say, bless you. I'm sorry you're having a challenging human experience right now. I trust that you will find the perfect path, the perfect employment that suits you, meets your needs, and supports the direction that you're heading. So, all of that to say, then, as we are looking at our topic today around the one song playing, around the one song of life itself, around the one clear voice that we all sing in harmony, regardless of our human singing ability, that there is one life, that there is one love, that there is one point of connection for us all. And even when we are challenged, right, even when people are consciously or unconsciously inviting us into that place of don't like me, be angry with me, create separation from me, we get to stand in the truth that we know. We get to stand in the reality, the deep capital T truth that there is only one voice. And that really is one of the fundamentals of our teaching. That is what Charles and Myrtle Fillmore spent their lives trying to share, trying to encourage the rest of us in human form to get on the bus, if you will, to understand that grounding in truth, that grounding in oneness. They spoke, the Fillmores spoke very clearly about who I am also is who we are, right? There is no they, there is no separation, there is no one or anything separate or apart from the one. And so that one truth, then, that one voice is speaking the language of love. You heard it twice in 2 of our 5 Sundays in December at 2 of our services. Love in any language, fluently spoken here. That was a conscious decision, my friends, to continue to invite all of us into that language of oneness, to continue to invite all of us into that clarity that we know is the one voice. I don't, I don't speak any other language other than English, and day to day I struggle with that on occasion. I bless those who are multilingual, whether you speak another language, perhaps Spanish, perhaps Hebrew, perhaps any other language on the planet represented in the almost 300 countries around the globe. Maybe yours is sign language. Maybe, like our beloved Karen, your language is Braille. Whatever language you speak, it is a love language. It is the language of love that is fluently spoken at Unity Spiritual Center in the Rockies. And so, my friends, as we move through this upcoming week, with tomorrow being the national holiday honoring the late Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I invite you into his words, his take on oneness, his take on connection, that the moral arc of the universe bends toward justice. It may not happen in our lifetimes, and that was the truth, if I may humbly suggest, that was the metaphysical truth that MLK knew well, that love appears as social justice, and that the moral arc of the universe is constantly moving, bending, shape-shifting in that direction regardless of what it looks like to our human eyes. So you remember the pictures. Perhaps some of you were there. I've heard stories about your parents who participated or loved ones in the protests, in the walks, who were actually in Selma, who were at MLK's I Have a Dream speech in Washington, D.C. That is what we know to be true with that capital T, truth. And the other piece of that speaks to me then from our pilgrimage last week, from our time together, I was keenly aware of my privilege, of the privilege of all of us to be on that ship together, to be in that community. We were having a conversation with one of our servers who took such beautiful care of us in every realm, in every area. And one of our guests had a question about lifeboats. He was doing the math, right? He was counting the lifeboats, and the ship was about 3 football fields long, just shy of 1,000 feet, and it held 2,600 passengers. And from his vantage point, wherever he stood, he was doing the math about the number of lifeboats and the number of people per lifeboat. And then the server chimed in and said, well, this is how many lifeboats there are. This is the capacity. There's more than enough room for all of our guests. And somebody joined the conversation and said, well, that's great for the 2,600 guests. What about the 1,000 crew members? And he just matter-of-factly shared, in his best conversational voice, oh, well, our 2,600 guests will be in the lifeboats, and the 1,000 crew will be in life rafts. And that just struck me like a frying pan over my head. Part of me says, thank you for that information, and I'm so grateful that all of that is taken care of. And that strikes me as being wrong, right? We're big about not a lot of right and not a lot of wrong. And that just struck me as wrong. So I don't know what to do with that, my friends. I don't know where I'm at with that. I just wanted to share that as a point of information and a learning for me, continuing to be aware of my privilege. And privilege, for those who may not be as engaged, privilege is when you don't have to worry about something. So privilege is being on a cruise and not have to worry that if something drastic happens, I'll have a place on a lifeboat. Yeah. So that is privilege. So we are unpacking what the Fillmores said constantly and consistently, that everyone is a potential Christ and everyone has an inherent God power. So that's what we're unpacking today. That's what we're diving into. That's what we're talking about a little bit. I know many of you are my age and perhaps a bit older. Does anybody remember the television ad for Coca-Cola? I'd like to teach the world to sing. Talk about one voice, right? Talk about metaphysical. Talk about something appearing on the airwaves in the 70s. That is our teaching, before our teaching had incredibly wide legs. I'd like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony, grow apple trees and honeybees and snow white turtle doves. And then, corporate America got involved. I'd like to buy the world a Coke and, everybody would live in harmony. Not the original song, but clearly part of the original message. So what that commercial was amplifying, what the Coca-Cola company was trying to do, was invite a much broader audience into our understanding of that universal voice, into our understanding of the magnificence in every being, whether you're singing on a mountaintop or in a self-identified slum in Soweto in Uganda. So that was what that was about. As I identify, so the world identifies. One expression of the divine, one expression of peace, one expression of love. I'd like to teach the world to sing. And what if that is our mantra as members of unity, as members of this beautiful new thought teaching? We'd like to teach the world to sing. We'd like to bring people together in peace, in harmony, and in love. And that continues to be the one voice that we echo through the hills. The second thought that the Fillmores offer that I touched on earlier is that everyone is a potential Christ, or indeed, everyone is Christ in expression. And again, that's another one of the things that I appreciate about our unity teaching is I see that light in you. I see that Christ light. I see you. I see that potential. And that's what I appreciate when you're able to see it in me. So what that helps us do then, when we are in that place of Christ consciousness, I see it in you and you honor it in me. It helps us move from that paradigm of hero and villain and victim, right? We're raising the vibration. We're moving out of that. In spiral dynamics terms, we are moving up the spiral to the next phase of consciousness. So rather than hero, victim, villain, we're moving into the space of creators, collaborators, and coaches. Creators, collaborators, and coaches. And that is what we offer each other. You've heard me say before, we're all here to learn, to grow, and to expand. And so what that means is we all have something to share, we all have something to learn, and 1 + 1 is so much greater than 2. I was having a conversation with another guest as part of our pilgrimage last week, somebody who was a new friend to me, and she was sharing how in school her path was theoretical algebra. Now I'm not casting my stuff on anybody else. I had a challenge with algebra. I didn't know a field of study of theoretical algebra even existed. And she said, David, so when I started to engage in this, it was fascinating and I loved it and I really had a mind for it. And part of the work was literally showing that 1 + 1 can sometimes be more than 2. And she said my humanness got in the way and sent me on a different path. And I ended up getting a degree in sociology. And I'm like, that's awesome. All of the people that you have served along the way are grateful for you. To that degree that everyone is a potential Christ, and to, a couple of opportunities for me to consciously call that in. For those who have been on cruises before, oh my goodness, among the other things that we were able to experience together was food and food and more food. And 6 or 8 or 10 buffets and 24-hour complimentary room service and on and on and on. And I was in one of those food lines on the last day. I thought, we are visiting 3 ports in Mexico. I love Mexican food. I'm going to have Mexican food on the ship. So I got in that particular line, and there was a delightful being in front of me who was just incensed that they were not able to put the nacho cheese on their own corn chips. We can get this, we can get the shredded cheese, we can get all of the other toppings, we can get the chips. Why can't we get our own nacho cheese? And I said, well, perhaps it's a leftover from the COVID days. They don't want to pass the spoon around. They don't want to, contaminate people that they don't want to contaminate. Well, I'm very capable of getting my own cheese. I want my own nacho cheese. And she was just going on and on and on. And honestly, I thought we were heading into a place of humor. And I said, I understand you're a little upset about this. I heard you the first 3 times you said it. And then she turned and said, well, I just don't understand. Why do they have the nacho cheese on that side when everything else is on this side? And she was still getting really wound up about it. And I said, and now that's 4 times that you've shared it with me. And then the pièce de résistance, she turned to me, and I realized we were having a serious conversation. She turned to me and said, well, earlier today, I ordered stevia for my tea and somebody delivered salt. So I've had a day already, but I wouldn't expect you to understand. So I won't project my stuff on you anymore. And all I could say was, thank you. Right? The stuff we choose to get wound up about. And to be clear, I have been both of those people. I've been the one getting wound up about nacho cheese. And here we were, on this gorgeous cruise. And, she let a little salt in her tea ruin her day. So, what is the invitation for you? What are those minor annoyances that keep popping up to you? What are the nails on your chalkboard? What are those moments that I just hate this? Somebody put the toilet paper roll on the wrong way. Oh my God, right? What are those minor things that maybe, just maybe, you can take a step back from and say, it's going to be okay, right? Yeah, so that is what we know to be true, is that delightful being was also the face of God. And that is what Karen Drucker did so beautifully for us on the pilgrimage. That is what we do every week, my friends. When we sing into the space, when we speak into the space, you are the face of God. That is recognizing the divinity in our fellow humans on the planet, right? If we're in a place of grounding and knowing and connection, we get to know that and they get to feel that, and you are the face of God. And if I'm singing to the delightful being who wasn't pleased about the nacho cheese situation, I'm singing it to myself. They are the face of God, David, regardless of how they show up, perhaps especially when they show up in interesting ways, right? As we stepped into in our meditation, I am the face of God. Am I acting like it? The face of God. The third piece, then, some folks would say, well, David, we all had different backgrounds, and you've spoken about privilege earlier, and I was privileged and you were privileged, and maybe you had more privilege than I did, or vice versa. And the Fillmores would say it is that conditioning, regardless, right? We all chose our parents for a reason, to help us grow and expand on our life journey. Some have positive things to report. Some have terrific, horrendous atrocities that you wouldn't wish on anybody. And the point is that our conditioning can get in the way of our healthy outlook. Our parents meant well. Our mentors, our teachers, our grandparents, the churches and religious institutions that done us wrong growing up meant well. At some point, everybody had that still small light within and had that positive perspective. And it's our conditioning that gets in the way. I had the great opportunity to spend some time with everybody on the pilgrimage talking about emergenetics. which is an assessment tool that I've been trained in for decades. And what that means is it's the author's take on nature and nurture. So the second part of the word, genetics, means what I come into the world with, right? So the nature folks say, you come into the world hardwired and maybe you can change 10% of it, good luck. So nature in this tool is genetics. Nurture, the folks on the nurture side of the spectrum say, I come into the world as a blank slate, and it's up to our religious institutions and our teachers and our churches and our parents to create who I am. So that was the conversation 30 or 40 years ago around nature and nurture. So this tool then that we've embraced at Unity in the Rockies is called emergenetics, and it brings together nature and nurture. And the Fillmores would say it is that nature piece, it is that nurture piece. You come into the world whole, perfect, and complete, and it is that quote unquote nurturing that sometimes can set us sideways and get in the way of a healthy outlook. So my dear friend Temple Hayes, we co-created this pilgrimage adventure together. She spoke on Friday, and she shared a story that I wanted to share again with you, with our congregation. She said when she was the spiritual leader at First Unity Spiritual Campus in St. Petersburg, Florida, she was asked to go to the hospital basically to help somebody leave the planet, to help them say goodbye and to help them check out. And long story short, she showed up at the hospital and everybody was kind of looking around saying, what is this person? And do you do last rites? And, this patient is on her way out. And Temple just walked up to her congregant, to her friend, and said, are you ready to bust out of this place? And this woman was basically comatose and not moving. And Temple could see her eyes fluttering. And Temple could say, if you can hear me, flutter your eyes. And her friend fluttered her eyes. And she said, if you can hear me, if you're cognizant, move something else on your body. Give me another response that you hear what I'm saying. And she saw her friend's pinky move. So she got two confirmations. This woman was cognizant beyond her physical circumstance. And so Temple said, do you want to get out of this place? If your answer is yes, give me both of those responses. Bat your eyes and wiggle your finger. And she got this. And so Temple started the wheels in action, knowing that we are so much more than any circumstance. That she, long story short, she got her friend out of the hospital. She moved along, is progressing in her recovery, and she introduced her, and she was with us on the cruise. So the point of that story, my friends, is we know we're more than any physical circumstance. We know we're more than any circumstance at all. And perhaps it's our conditioning that says, oh, when you're 60, this is supposed to happen. Oh, when you're 70, you're over the hill. Oh, when you're 80, blah, 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 blah. Well, no disrespect intended. I call BS. We get to be in that place of knowing. We get to be in that place of health. Don and Luana joined us on the pilgrimage in one of our ports. They went horseback riding. Well, hello, 40-year-olds aren't supposed to ride horses. It's not good, it's not healthy, it's not safe. And here come these two beautiful beings. They were the only two people on this excursion. They have this wonderful hallmark moment riding down the beach on their horses. Everybody else is saying, oh my gosh, and they're saying, this is a part of our experience. This is the life that we are choosing to co-create together. So what we know to be true is that reality has no basis in precedent. 70-year-olds don't have to be sick. You don't have to die at 90. You can live past 100 and be healthy and happy and connected and secure. So what can you release as part of your past programming that is no longer serving you? So that is what we know to be true, my friends, that we are part of the one universal voice, that we are part of the love and the light that we are sharing on the planet. So in conclusion, then, as some of you know, I'm continuing with some Bible classes through Unity Worldwide Ministries. And in the book of Job, Job is having a tough time. Job is primarily identifying with his ego, separate from himself. It's affected his wife and his whole family. They're in sackcloth, they're in ashes, and his wife says to him, "You might as well curse God and die, because life isn't very good right now, and let's just get on with it and see whatever happens next." And to his credit, Job remembers something. He remembers that there's an integrity to the soul. He remembers a reality to the spirit. He was on his own and finally ended up in sackcloth and ashes, but then he identified with his spiritual identification. He reached back through himself to the cause of everything that is and discovered God through his still small voice within. Join me, my friends, in prayer. How good it is to be together in community. How good it is to be able to hear and to speak and to share each and every powerful voice that is this community. So on this day, with many of us in a physical circumstance of cold outside, I speak to the warmth inside. I speak to the light within. I speak to the heat that is generated from deep knowing, of positivity, of oneness, of connection, of speaking voice in community, and of love. I release, I let go, I call it in, I allow it to be. We anchor this together by saying, and so it is, and so I am, and so we are. And now, my friends, we will continue in the energy of our time of giving, recognizing again that there is no time and space, being human constructs. We bless you for your gifts before, during, and after this service, whatever that looks like, however you can connect. Please join me in our affirmation of abundance. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Once again, Ms. Karen Karsh.
I send my love over the seas. I send my love
Could we have a bit more volume, please, Mark?
to the heavens, and it returns to me. And I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the seas. I send my love up to the heavens, and it returns to me. Let's sing joy just because we can. Ready? And I send my joy over the mountains. I send my joy up to the seas. I send my joy up to the heavens, and it returns to me. yes indeed. I send my love over the mountains. I send my love over the seas. I send my love to the heavens, and it returns to me. It returns to me. It returns to me. You know, I send my love.
Outstanding, Karen, as always. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And now, my friends, our blessing for the children. Let us rub our hands together on this warm day. Send our love, send our energy, send our warmth to the children of our community and the world. You are loved, special, and important. We see you and bless the divine beings you are.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Beautiful. And so, my friends, as we move into our prayer for protection, I call that in for you. I call that in for each and every member of our community, and the broader community, and the state, and the world indeed. I know that we are safe, we are protected, we are children in whom God is well pleased. Please join me in our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. I am that light. The love of God enfolds us. I am that love. The power of God protects us. I am that power. The presence of God watches over us. I am that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Please join in the peace song, sing at the top of your lungs, raise the rafters, let the four-leggeds howl. We look forward to being with you in person next Sunday, January 21st. All of the meetings that were scheduled today, we will get rescheduled, perhaps next Sunday, perhaps beyond. Just know you are loved, you are blessed, you are an integral member of this community, and we're so grateful for your presence. Go in power, go in peace.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace peace that is meant to be with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow, to take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
Make it the best week yet. Blessings.